Okay, well, we'll be starting in about maybe 1 more minute. So we'll be going live, or we are already live, and so stay tuned so more people can go ahead and have a chance to log on. We start in about 1 minute, okay? Sounds good to me, sounds good to you. I'm right here for you. And if you have any questions and you want to ask me anything, by all means, you know how to locate me. You know I'm right here, and I'm looking at your questions all the time. So please do ask questions, and I will be here for you. Okay. All right. All right. So good. Everything looks great. I have some questions already written down here on our site, and let me just make sure I've got everything going. If you can hear me, please let me know. I really would like to know that you can hear me. It's really important to me that you can. And if not, we'll need to adjust something along the way. So type in there, yes, I can hear you, please, and I'll be good. I'll be happy. Okay. Can you hear me?
No, it's no. I don't have the
Okay.
access to go in there. We don't need that.
All right, great. So let me know if you can hear me. It's already time to get started, and I want to welcome everyone for being here. And once again, please let me know if you can hear me, because I definitely want you to be able to hear me as we get going. So welcome, everyone. I see more and more people are logging in to this free webinar on open eye meditations. And really, I want us to think about the real value about open eye meditations, because it's really important for us to be able to um, to use or make the most of our meditative experience and our dualistic nature as well. So thanks, Klaus. She said, yes, that you can hear me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Okay, good. So again, welcome everyone. I'm so happy that you all are here attending this live webinar on open eye meditations. And I'd like to start off with a few little comments that we have here already on our site. My dear friend, Lee Pasco, director of the Silva Method in France, says, my, what big open eyes you have. So I think she's a wonderful dear friend, and I'll be going to Paris, France in the very near future, coming up mid-month. And I can tell you exactly when. And we're going to be presenting a new program called New Mind for Financial Freedom. And that is been quite a bit upgraded since the last one. Some of you probably taught or took on an online training. Live seminars are always the best, as you know. And so we'll be doing this live seminar on New Mind for Financial Freedom on June 17th and 18th in Paris, France. So thank you, Lee, for logging on to this workshop. And thank you, Edmilo. I hear you, and thanks for the webinar. Thanks for being here. Now, Edmilo, you also asked a question about three fingers technique equals open eye meditation, and it can. Working with open eye meditations, gee, as far back as I remember the Silva Method with the three fingers technique. My father used to always talk about being able to enter alpha with three fingers technique, but not necessarily always with open eyes. So three fingers technique is a very quick and effective way to slow down the brain frequencies and tap your inner state or that inner dimension that leads to positive outcomes. And we'll talk more about that. But what we want to do is be able to also continue to maintain that inner state with your eyes open. So what the progression is now is that once you're able to go in and out of your meditation or enter meditations faster and easier with the use of three fingers, using the three fingers technique or the alpha anchor as a way to enter, then the next step is to open your eyes and maintain that state, okay? So it eventually will and can equal open eye meditations, but you need to begin to develop and evolve it to become that, all right? Because initially, three fingers technique was just another way to enter alpha, like the glass of water, like 3-2-1 method, like closing your eyes, like, three fingers technique, all right? Okay, thanks for asking that question. Teresa says that her friend is practicing open eye meditations with a Brahma Kumari's method, and how is our open eye meditation different? I'm not totally familiar with a Brahma Kumaris, but I have looked into it after you asked that question. And that's called Raja Yoga meditation. And that too is practiced with eyes open. And it makes this, which makes this method, it says here, I took it off the website, which makes this meditation, method of meditation versatile, simple, and easy to practice. I totally agree. Meditation is a state of being that in that place, just beyond everyday consciousness, which is where spiritual empowerment begins. Now, that's the part I want to kind of stop at for just a few moments. I think this Raja's yoga meditation is open eye meditation and is very effective, but the focus is mostly still more associated to passive forms of meditation, like your traditional Zen Buddhist type meditation, transcendental type meditation, which is all good. I totally am in favor of that. I practice it myself. But it's mostly about spiritual empowerment. And it continues to say, spiritual awareness gives us the power to choose good and positive thoughts over those which are negative and wasteful. We start to respond to situations rather than react to them. We begin to live with harmony. We create better and happier, healthy relationships and change our lives in the most positive way. All of that is really, really good. But that's very different than what we teach in Silva. Silva uses more of the meditation that is associated with dynamic meditation. And whereas the Raja's yoga meditation is more associated with traditional passive type meditation, which focuses more on spiritual awareness, what we do, which I call deliberate daydreaming, is dynamic in nature and is highly associated with achievements, or it's achievement based. We want to solve problems, want to reach our goals, we want to strengthen our immune system. We have a purpose, a very specific purpose or purposes behind that. So we're always really working at it all the time, using all of our mental senses, using our intellect, thinking through processes, being able to engage subjective energies of desire, belief, and expectancy, along with the coherent emotions of appreciation, gratitude, love, all these positive emotions that support you as you achieve your outcome. And the other thing about that is that there's always a mental state that's associated with this type of inner functioning. And that mental state is what we also want to become very, very familiar with when we do deliberate daydreaming. I'd like to say that deliberate daydreaming is anytime you shift your focus within while maintaining your eyes open or defocused vision. Access the ideal mental state for successful programming and concentrate on something of importance to you. And that's basically what we're going to be doing. So although there's always similarities, you could say that this Brahma Kumari's meditation is also a form of daydreaming. And we've always said that in the Silva method, that if you recall, when you got to the second part, which is Silva intuition training, and you had gone through all your projection meditations and exercises of going into matter and testing with sound, odor, density of material, and light. Once you did all those things, and then you went into the inanimate matter, and then to plant life, animal life, and human life, one of the last things that we always say is that you can always enter your meditative state and do case working even with your eyes open and trigger the so-called daydream effect. So daydreaming and what appears to be this type of what they call the Raja Yoga meditation, which is associated with what we are talking about here in the Brahma Kumari's meditative method, is engaging the daydream mechanism. But it's got to be purposeful daydream. It's got to be daydreaming with awareness, consciousness. Most people daydream unconsciously. They don't even know that they've been there. A lot of times they just kind of like, go off and think about some past memory or what happened last night or what they're going to have for lunch or dinner. And oftentimes we drive that way. We don't even remember anything between our starting point and our drive to our destination point. So everything in between is like a blur because we're kind of daydreaming, thinking things through, working on situations in our mind, or recalling information, thinking about a business problem or what we're going to do when we get to our destination, but not really concentrating fully on the actual driving experience. And I know we've all done that, and actually we do it quite effectively because we don't have to focus all of our senses in driving, because we just are so used to going on semi-automatic mode, and that we have this kind of a very grand or expanded awareness. So all that being said, then there are similarities, obviously, like with all meditative forms. And what makes a meditative system different is the purpose of the meditation form or method. In this particular method, it seems like it's more about spiritual awareness. And in the Silva method, it's more about problem solving and achievement based. And so bettering your health, solving all kinds of problems, achieving your goals, all that kind of stuff. I hope that helps, and it helps to also differentiate the different methodologies. Whereas also the same thing applies with just our meditative experience, where the Silva method is mostly dynamic in nature. We do practice passive meditation, obviously, and anybody can do that. But our focus is mostly dynamic in nature, engaging the intellect, while at the alpha frequencies, most all other meditation systems that have been around for thousands of years, like transcendental meditation or Zen Buddhist type meditation, is passive in nature. They both have different frequencies, and they operate, or the person operates at different frequencies of the brain. Same brain, obviously, but we either slow it really down to the theta frequency where passive meditation can exist, and the intellect is quiet and passive, and we function mostly with innate intelligence, and things come to us, and the mode of thinking is more inductive in nature. And what Silva does is dynamic meditation, where the mode is inductive in nature, and the intellect is very much engaged in the whole experience there. But you can always go from one to the other as you need. Okay, let me see. Philly Milan says, mil gracias, which means thank you very much. I hope you speak Spanish. Yes, I do. Hablo español bastante bien. And that they had met my dad in Austria, and was very, very grateful to all the seminars, and thank you once again. Okay, great. So I think we're done here, and with some of the questions, but by all means, if you have more questions, I'll keep refreshing my page and looking out for more and more of your questions along the way. Okay, great. Okay, super. Now, when we're talking about this open eye meditations, what I want us to work with is to have a very clear understanding of what that entails. For me, anything that we do in Silva, it's really important that you have the understanding, the knowledge, the confidence of applying these tools in your everyday practice, because that's when you can succeed with greater, or that's where you can achieve greater success in anything that you're doing. So again, for me, this particular webinar, and any webinar that we present, any course that we present, any content that we present, it's really important that you understand how to work it through and feel very confident doing it along the way. Okay, so when it comes to open eye meditations, the first thing that we need to do, the process that we utilize for the greatest success, is to first enter your alpha level. Now, we need to learn how to reach that slower frequency of alpha and really tap into that inner state and apply what we've already learned, like our formula type techniques or the mirror of the mind. And as we apply our techniques and gain success, or mirror the mind and gain success, then we begin to become very comfortable with the fact that we can achieve outcomes, that we are in control of our living experience, and we become more and more confident with every success that we are able to achieve. And that's very important, because success breeds more success. And everything, and we want to lean on those successes and establish points of reference or markers with those successes. Now, that's why it's really important to first enter alpha and establish those points of reference. With Silva, as you may notice, that we rely highly on points of reference and trigger mechanisms. One of the first things you learn is to create trigger mechanisms that allow you to re-enter or again experience that internal state that you come to know with the Silva techniques. One of the first trigger mechanisms that we learn is physical relaxation with the number 3. We went through an extensive part by part body relaxation that allowed us to really get to feel deep physical relaxation. And we associated that with number 3. And we said to you more than once, more than twice, that in order to enter this level of physical relaxation, all you need to do is to take a deep breath, and while exhaling, to mentally repeat the number 3 times. And every time you practice, it will become easier and faster to get there. We did the same thing with the number 2 for mental relaxation. In the beginning, we guided you to tranquil and passive scenes, where you would be in that tranquil and passive scene, incorporate or engage all of your mental senses as if you're actually there to experience this mental tranquility. And we associated that with the number 2. So anytime you took a deep breath, and while exhaling, you would say 2, 3 times, you would relax your mind. So number 2 became a trigger mechanism for mental relaxation. And then number 1 was to be a trigger mechanism for that basic plane level. All that means is wherever you find yourself at that state, at that frequency, at that whatever, at that point in time. Now that can fluctuate. It can be a higher alpha, lower alpha, it could be theta, depending on how deep or how light you go frequency wise. That basic plane is just your starting point. That's how you just get started into the meditation and fulfill the purpose. Remember that every meditation has a structure. You enter, you deepen, you have a purpose or the programming phase, and then you exit. Now, there's many ways of doing all of those things. You can enter by closing your eyes, the 3-2-1 method, a 5-2-1 method, a 3 fingers technique, the glass of water. All these are ways of entering. Just close your eyes and you enter. Okay, so that's another way. You deepen with a part by part body relaxation, or relaxing the mind, or projecting yourself to your favorite place of relaxation for a few moments, or by relaxing your eyelids and having that wave of relaxation slowly go downward, all the way down to your toes. All of these things are ways to deepen your inner state. Or 10-1 countdown as well. I think I might have said that. And then the programming phase, the purpose of the meditation can be when you apply your formula type techniques, or when you use the mirror of the mind, or you create your own imagery and set your goals. Any of that, your own personal imagery, all of that is programming. Even praying at this time is a perfect time to pray. And then the exit can be by just simply opening your eyes, or a gradual count out of 1 to 5, or 1 to 3, and or going to sleep from meditation is a form of exit. So all these things become trigger mechanisms, where you can have more control of going in and out of your inner experience. The main thing here, though, is that once those trigger mechanisms are established, then while in the mental experience, the subjective experience, there you want to establish points of reference with that experience. You want to establish points of reference with the depth that you personally enjoy, with the way you visualize or imagine, with the way you experience outcomes and achievements, with the way you experience the intensifying of the subjective energies of desire and belief and expectation, energies that must be present to make anything happen. To making points of reference as to how you experience the bursting out, of the coherent emotions of gratitude and appreciation into the field around you from where all things come. These are where you establish points of reference. And most importantly, a point of reference of the mental state that you experience, that you come to identify, is a mental state that results in positive outcomes, that results in the achievement of your goals, that results in getting healthier, that results in anything it is that you want of importance, okay? So mental state is very, very important, and it's key to this, to successful open eye meditations. So these are the things that I really want us to tap upon while we're working with this. But first and foremost, it's important that you first establish subjective points of reference with physical and mental relaxation, and with functioning at alpha. Okay, that is why we want to guide you with the formal meditation of the 333, 222, 111, and then go into that inner experience and become very confident, very familiar with that internal state. Now, this is important for you to continue to practice. The formal type meditations that require you to go within with your eyes closed allow you to go much deeper within, because you eliminate external stimulus that may be coming in from the outer world through your eyes. And although your vision is defocused, or you might be in that daydream state, you are still getting peripheral experiences or images. So it takes a little more effort in some cases to really keep your focus within. Now, the best way to keep your focus within and still have your eyes open is to concentrate on the inner experience, what you're picturing, what you're experiencing, even though you have your eyes open. For example, right now I have my eyes open, but I'm completely inside. And so as I'm inside, what I'm focusing on and concentrating on is just that wonderful experience of achieving a goal that I have in mind. I have this amazing goal that I'm going to achieve, or better than that, and I'm experiencing that wonderful sensation of, yes, it's done. It's all behind me. The past, the problems, the situations, it's all behind me. I've succeeded, and it feels so good. And I feel the energy just flowing out of me of joy and gratitude and appreciation. And then I can blink and come right back to you. But for that little moment, I was in the experience of achievement. And that's really very important. But that can only be done while you're at alpha. So important first is to find that space within you that you come to identify is your inner space that has a certain sensation. You experience it in your own unique way, and you make a point of reference with that. It's especially important that you identify the mind state or the mental state that leads to positive outcomes, that leads to your achievements. Because a very unique state that leads to those achievements. It's one that's positive. It's the one that's charged with subjective energies, one that's charged with coherent emotions, one that you have experienced both at a distance on your mental screen and while you're in the experience of achievement as well. And you know what it feels like. Your body, brain, and mind know what it feels like to have achieved that outcome. Okay, that needs to be done for the most effective open eye meditations. The best results come from having practiced dynamic meditations with eyes closed first, program for something, and you achieve it. That's a point of reference you have, because it's a very special sensation, inner feeling, experience that comes with success. And you want to lock into that sensation, that inner experience, that point of reference of success, because success will breed more success. And this allows you to establish that point of reference with the ideal mental state for achievement to be possible, okay? Now, alpha frequency initially is what you want to achieve, because that takes you into that inner state. And mental state, the alpha frequency, the frequency of brain, and the mental state are two totally different things. Alpha frequency is something that the brain, the organ we call the brain, which is physical in nature, is emitting. Your brain is emitting frequency. Your brain is emitting electrical impulses that fall into a pattern, into cycles per second that can be measured, can be detected. It's a physical function of the brain to emit electricity that falls into these cycles per second. When you are at alpha, that's a light inner state. It's a light wakeful state that's easy to achieve. And in the beginning, is achieved with your eyes closed most effectively, okay? Now, once it's achieved and you lock it in and you establish a point of reference, then that's when you can duplicate it or enter that inner state with your eyes open. But notice, mental state that is achieved because your brain frequency is at alpha is very different than the mental state is very different than the frequency itself or how the brain operates. Mental state is subjective in nature. Frequency is objective or physical in nature. Mental state is subjective or spiritual in nature. Only you know how to identify and how to distinguish it. So because of your experience while programming with your closed eye meditations, what that mental state feels like. But you can then access that mental state regardless of brain frequency. In other words, I may be right here, may have just gone for a jog, or I might just be really, really busy, or just got into an argument with someone, and that my brain frequency is really high. But if I just desire to just calm myself and recall that mental state, in a moment, I can shift from a very excited mental state into a very passive and calm mental state. Now, yes, it may come with a slowing down of brain frequencies, but that's not a requirement. The mental state that you are accessing is something that you know and that you have become very familiar with, and that you can access in a matter of seconds. So I can be like really excited right now, and then just kind of calm myself, and then just think about that time when I was very peaceful and relaxed. Maybe I was laying on a hammock and I was very calm, and my breathing became paced, and my muscles relaxed a little bit, and the breeze was perfect, and I could hear the fronds of the palm trees, and just the sound they make as the wind or the breeze passes through. It's nice and cool and shady under the palm trees as I rest in the hammock. You see how how you can do that? So you can shift from one mind state to the other, and it can mean, and not necessarily, that the frequency shifts with it, but it will help you to enter that internal state. So brain frequency, mental state, two different things. They can be together and they can function together, but not required for you to slow down brain frequency to enter the mental state. The mental state you can access because you recall the experience itself. I hope that's clear. And if it's not clear, please do let me know, because I want to make sure that it is very clear to everyone, okay? So I'll keep checking questions on and on to make sure that, okay, great. So just to make sure that we're on the same page and that you're following along with me. So that is why it's ideal for you to first experience what you want to achieve in a meditation, so that you can then lock it in with your alpha anchor or the 3 fingers technique. Lock in that subjective experience that is charged already with the subjective energies of desire, belief, and expectancy, along with the coherent emotions of gratitude and appreciation or love, whatever it might be, all the while recognizing the ideal inner state that is achieved throughout the experience, okay? So once you have it all done, and you do that in a formal meditation, then anytime throughout the day, as you need or want to, you can go in and out as you wish. But you've already rehearsed it. You've already experienced it. You already know what it feels like. You know what to access. You know what to bring about, even with your eyes open. Now, as you're doing open eye meditation, that's ideal, because maybe you're in a business meeting and you don't want to close your eyes. Maybe you're talking to someone and you want to get a sense as to where they're coming from. And if you close your eyes to feel them, it's going to be kind of weird. But if you keep your eyes open with your vision defocused, then you have a better sense of picking up on their energies or their intentions, whatever it may be. Yes, you can always use your 3 fingers technique along the way to enhance the experience. I know I do that automatically, but not required, okay? Not required. If it helps you, you use it. Helps me, I use it, okay? So there's many times that it's probably not appropriate to close your eyes, but you can certainly keep your eyes open and get a lot of benefits as you would with a closed-eye meditation, okay? But they're more instant, they're on the go. You do them as you need throughout the day. It can take 10 seconds or as long as you wish, and at any given moment you can close your eyes just to, again, enhance the experience. On and off, you can close your eyes, open them again to enhance the experience again. So you can do that as you need. You need to become very familiar with how you operate, and you can only do that if you practice. A lot of times I hear people say, oh yeah, I know all of that. Oh yeah, I got it. And I said, but are you doing it? No, but I understand it. No, but are you doing it? No, but I understand it. It's not good enough, okay? Not doing it is like not knowing it. So you can't tell me you know about something if you don't practice it. So you must practice it in order to know what that feels like. And then you have a powerful tool to be able to utilize throughout the day as you need. Okay. All right. So when you do your formal meditations to be able to lock in an experience that you really want to reinforce, and it's probably going to be because you really want to lock in or a goal or some kind of maybe health experience or a state of mind as well, that when you really want to lock in that experience, there'll be times that you'll go into your meditation and some things you're going to project on your mental screen. Now remember that the mental screen is past your eyelids and out and away from your body, away from you. Anything that you picture out there in that space is called the mental screen. It's like a mental movie screen, okay? So sometimes you'll picture things on your mental movie screen like the mirror of the mind. So once you create the mirror of the mind and you have transformed it from blue frame, which is your current reality or your problem situation, and you have transformed it into your white frame, well, then in the white frame, there you project all this desire. I want to achieve it. The belief I can and I will achieve it. That's your expectation. So once you have all these subjective energies that are intense and only you know how much is required from you, of desire, belief, and expectancy to make things happen based on your own personal history. But when you've got that, then that might be a point of reference that you want to establish. This is what I look like when it's all great. That's the me that I want to achieve. That's the outcome I want to achieve. That's the goal that I want to achieve. And you picture it and you evolve it and you make it super amazing, very appealing, very desirable, very believable. Must be believable, and without a shadow of a doubt, I will make this happen or better than that. When it's very clear, then, and you're picturing it, then little by little, you can open your eyes, keep your vision to focus, but keep your focus on that image, because that way you're able to practice focusing on the image throughout the day. Once you practice focusing on the image of achievement throughout the day, then during the meditations, then anytime throughout the day, you can go back to it as you need for a few seconds here, there, anywhere, and reinforce it, energize it, okay? So, but at first, for greatest effect, first do it in a formal meditation. Now, everybody has the ability to meditate at least twice a day. In the morning when you wake up, stay in bed for a few minutes. We always say 5 minutes is good, 10 minutes is very good, 15 minutes is excellent. And if you have a health challenge, 15 minutes is what we recommend, okay? But stay in bed for just a few minutes and just plan your day. Reinforce that goal that you're working on. That's so important to you. Maybe it's a business project. Maybe it's a goal a financial goal. Maybe it's a love goal. It doesn't matter, health goal. Something that's really important for you, then reinforce it with your mental screen. And then that's one way. And then have it very clear so that during the day, anytime it comes to mind, you focus on that for just a few minutes. You just daydream. You do deliberate daydreaming on that. Into, God, that's great. I look amazing. Look how healthy I look. I look so good. Yeah, that's good. Awesome. I'm going to get that or better than that. Then you blink to refocus and then get back to work. So it's that simple. Now, the other way that you can do that is to go into a meditation and get into the experience of achievement. And so what that means is that when you're doing your formal meditation and you do the mirror of the mind and you've already transformed the blue frame into the white frame, as you build desire, you move that image closer to you, the one in the white frame. As you build more belief, I can do it, I deserve it, it's mine, it's doable, it's possible, and I deserve it. And you attract it even closer to you, the image of achievement, the outcome image. And then you expect it with full confidence that you're going to achieve it. You bring it in so close that then you step into the image. And now you physically and spiritually experience this outcome of achievement. You're in the experience. I've done it. It's done. Yes. And kind of like really go through the whole thing as to how wonderful it is to have already achieved that outcome, whether it be a health outcome, or you found the love of your life, or you got double, your pay raise or whatever, or you're able to fulfill that or finish that project, or whatever the goal may be, the weight goal, you've been able to reduce the 20 pounds, 30 pounds, 40, goes, yes, and you're feeling great and your energy is great and you're moving easily and you're strong and healthy and vibrant, whatever. But you experience it with all of your mental senses, and there you project what I call the power push, the push of coherent emotions into the field about you. Gratitude. I'm so happy it's done. I did it. I achieved it. Yes, celebrate, appreciation or love, whatever, out into the field from where all things come, okay? And we can talk about that too if we need. But once you're doing that in either one, you want to lock in the experience. This is what achievement feels like to me. Let my body, brain, and mind own it, memorize it, own it completely and fully. This is what achievement feels like. These are the benefits I get to enjoy. This is how my body feels. This is how the joy inside me is experienced. This is what it's like. How cool is this? And you really lock into that feeling of achievement, the experience of achievement, as if it's already done. So you have already achieved it, but it's already done, a past tense sense, okay? And you lock it in. So that way, you have two ways of going about it. You can either picture on your mental screen, with your open eye meditations, which for a few seconds throughout the day, and you have many seconds throughout the day to do this without a doubt. Or you can get back into the experience of achievement and just experience it fully and completely for a few seconds every day as well throughout the day. So when you're in the experience, you just go back into this. Oh gosh, yeah, oh man, yeah, this is good. This is good. I've done it. I've achieved it. I'm living it now. It's so amazing. Oh, it's great. And you open your eyes and you continue going. Okay, so I hope you're noticing those distinctions there. So the alpha anchor will always help you to access the experience, whether it's because you're observing it at a distance, because you've got your mental screen, you've got your white frame mirror of the mind on the mental screen and you're observing it at a distance, or you're literally experiencing it, okay? The alpha anchor or 3 fingers technique, same thing, will help you to do that, all right? And deliberate daydreaming can be achieved many times during the day. That's why it's so good to have open eye meditations. So deliberate daydreaming, you can do 10, 20, 30 times. 5 seconds here, 5 seconds there, 5 seconds, whatever. So you can stay very connected to your goal, to your outcome. And the more you do that, the more you reel it in, because you're experiencing it over and over and over again. And your thoughts are only on what you want to achieve and actualize. And what you think about, you bring about. And that's the reality. Whatever you think about expands in that direction as well. And so deliberate daydreaming can be very, very beneficial for anyone who is wanting to speed up the process of achievement. And still the formal practice is very important. So if you do it in the morning, you can just as easily do a formal meditation in the afternoon or at night. Certainly at night. At nighttime, you have every ease to go through a meditation and then into sleep. That's what you want to achieve. So absolutely no excuse. Everybody has the ability to program in the morning or meditate in the morning and program, and meditate at night and continue with your programming, reinforcing your programmings. Throughout the day, I love to meditate in the afternoons because I can really enjoy very deep meditations in the afternoon. And typically my afternoon meditation, I save it for a passive meditation. If I have a nice, chunk of time, like a 30-minute chunk of time, 45 minutes, I'll always, in the afternoon, after lunch, I'll always do a passive form of meditation just to deepen within, connect with my spirituality, have greater spiritual awareness, and then expand on that experience with nothing else but that as its purpose. But during the morning, it's programming, goal setting, health and healing, all that kind of stuff. During the afternoon, during the evening, again, it's goal setting, sending healing energy, problem solving, things like that. And during the day, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, with my deliberate daydreaming. Okay. So these are the kinds of tools that allow you to recognize, one, that you probably are meditating more often than you giving yourself credit for. Because I'm sure that once you set a goal, we have built into the program, especially with Mirror of the Mind, that whenever you think of the problem, you will immediately think of the mirror framed in white. In other words, the outcome image. So I undoubtedly, and you throughout the day, if you think of, or the problem situation comes to mind, you're probably saying cancel, cancel, and immediately go to the white frame mirror that has the outcome or image. And those of you who have practiced being in the experience, which is the more advanced Mirror of the Mind technique, when you are in the experience, the same thing. We say whenever you think of the problem from now on, you simply immediately press your fingers together and get into the experience of achievement. So either one is excellent. Remember that we only had Mirror of the Mind for probably the first 30 years of the Silva method, and then came being in the experience of achievement. I brought that into the picture about 20 years ago, maybe a little bit more now. And I brought into the picture because I really, that's what I was doing. And that's what I found to be very, very beneficial. And then I started to experiment with hundreds of people and encourage them to get into the experience of achievement. And they found it to be very, very successful. And so little by little, I kept evolving that. And then it became a Silva technique of being in the experience of achievement. So anytime you really want to program for something, I totally recommend that you first picture it on your mental screen, in your white frame, build up desire, belief, and expectancy, draw it closer to you, step into the image of achievement, and now allow your body, brain, and mind to experience it fully, and then project outward the power push of the coherent emotions of desire, of gratitude, appreciation, and love into the field around you. Now, when we say project out to the field around you, it's like when people say, "Oh, give it to the universe," and don't worry about it, just let it go to the universe. But they say these things without really putting attention as to what it means. For me, I'll tell you what it means to me. Everything that exists in this world had to come from that field, because everything came from that, and it's in everything. It is universal. So that field from where all things come, which is the energy that begins to attract subatomic particles, that also attract subatomic particles to form atoms, and attract atoms to form molecules. That's the very foundation of all inanimate matter that exists in the universe, is also within me. And those molecules, that energy has a way of attracting molecules to form cells. That's in every form of plant life, but also in me. And that energy has an ability to attract and attract molecules to form tissues and organs that are in animals and are also in me. And also that energy has the ability to attract organs into systems that create different kinds of body systems, like the nervous system, respiratory system, reproductive system, endocrine system, that other animals have, and I as well have. And then that energy has the ability of bringing together a mold, a human mold, a soul mold, so to speak, that we conform to, that gives us our shape, or gives every other animal its shape, or every plant its shape, or every object its shape. Also, I have. The thing that I have differently, other than biological intelligence, like all other animals, or primary perception, like all plants do, is that I have human intelligence that allows us to go back again and connect with that energy, from where that universal energy, that one mind, that cosmic energy, from where all things come. And in that way, we are able to influence the energy And it can be done both positively and negatively through our thinking, our intentions, our emotions, our feelings, our expectations. And so we are able then to relate to and be in rapport with that energy. And that is why it's so important that we always focus on thinking of what we want, because that energy will give you everything you want, or everything that you're thinking of, or everything that you fear, or everything that you're feeling. It's going to give it to you without discrimination. I like to say is that energy, universal energy, or the field which you push out your emotions and your feelings to, and your intentions and your images and your thoughts and what you desire, is going to give it to you without discrimination, just like gravity is going to make anything that comes off some kind of altitude fall downward towards the earth. So because you don't know that gravity is going to pull you towards the earth and you jump off a building, doesn't mean that it's going to that your ignorance will protect you from being hurt and maybe potentially even killing yourself. So ignorance is not exempt us from suffering, my father used to always say. And that's why for me it's really important that you have a very full and complete understanding as to why these tools work so well, and how to use these subjective energies, and how to relate to the universe, or the field from where all things come, that responds to your thoughts, images, intentions, emotions, everything. Okay. And so when you do open hand meditations, you're constantly are communicating, you're having a dialogue with that field from where all things come, by projecting out, this is what I'm attracting, this is what I'm going to create, this is what we are creating together, because you and that field literally are one and the same. The only thing is that you have manifested with form, with shape, with physical, kind of a physical shape to you, but you at the very core of who you are, and at the very core of everything that exists, is that energy from where all things come. I hope that makes sense. And I hope you have questions for me as well. So it's important that we're talking, the same language here, okay? So if you have any questions, please ask me, because I really want to hear from you. And I'll just keep on updating my page to see if you have any questions. So far, no more questions, but it's really important that this is clear for you. Okay, so if you have any questions, please do ask me. I'm here for you. I'm here to help you every step of the way. So now, what do we do with these open hand meditations? Well, you can do meditations on the go. I think this is one of the most prime examples of what we call dynamic meditation. Because you're active, you can be physically active, your frequency can be kind of alert, your intellect is fully engaged in every way. You're incorporating your emotions and your feelings, as well as subjective energies. You're living in both dimensions, basically, or switching from one to the other as you need, from the physical to the spiritual as you need, in order to or send energy to your goals, or to sense information, or to solve problems. So these meditations on the go are highly dynamic and very practical. And this is what I'm hoping that people always walk away with, is that the Silva method is not something you have to set time aside to do. It's just a way of being. It's a lifestyle. It's a way of thinking that's very productive, very energetic, and that gives results. Okay, that's really important. You can do this anytime. You can use this type of open hand meditations anytime as you need. I mean, there's times I'm stopped at a red light, and I know I don't have to see the red light with focused vision. I know it's red. It's right there. It's red. There's a red dot there. Even though my vision is defocused, I know it's red. But during that time, I can think about what I'm going to do when I get to my destination, how well it's going to go. And I'm defocused. I can picture being in rapport with the people I'm talking to, and that the meeting goes really, really well. And when the light changes, I can just blink and continue driving. But I just gave my next project, my immediate next project, a really nice boost of success, because I've thought it through, I've pictured, I have a point of reference, I know what I want to achieve, and it's going to be that or better than that. So this is the kind of thing you can do in stoplight meditations that are so effective and can be done in a matter of seconds as well. There's a question here from Edmilo, and is there an easy way to know I'm an alpha? Yeah, just close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Really, the only way that you really for sure would ever know is to be hooked up to electroencephalogram. And really, who's got access to an EEG machine? But so much research has been done with EEG machines and brain frequency, and the studies have all showed that it is so easy to achieve the alpha frequency. Simply close your eyes, and that's why we do what we do. Relax your body, as you know, with part body relaxation. Relax your mind, and you're probably there. Not probably, you are there, because your body, brain, and mind go into alpha and through alpha, theta, delta, and back up and down every single day of your life. Throughout the day, you tap alpha throughout the day many times. And at nighttime, you cycle through alpha, theta, and delta, and then REM frequencies as well, all night long until you wake up in the morning. So your body, brain, and mind already know how to go there. And being that alpha is the next slower frequency next to beta, and it's a big range. It can be anywhere from 7 to 14 or 8 to 12, depends on what book you read. As far as brain frequency is concerned, either one goes. So it's a very light and wakeful state. So don't even doubt that you're at alpha. You are at alpha. If you close your eyes, relax your body, and pace your breathing, and kind of calm your mind. Even though you feel like you have a lot of chatter in your head, that's okay. We all have chatter in our head. Pay attention to the chatter. What is it telling you? If it's a concern, then imagine that the concern, the blue frame, imagine what's a possible outcome, turn it into a project. In other words, don't just leave it as a concern and a little chatter that's taking away a lot of head space. No, turn it into a project and resolve it. Start working towards resolving it. And so anytime you do what I just mentioned, you're going to be at alpha. Alpha is a very easy frequency to get to and to stay conscious in. Now, the thing that we confuse a little bit is when we get very deep. We start going to the slower frequencies of alpha into maybe 7, 8, 9, cycles per second, or we're borderlining theta frequencies. And then at that point, then we may lose more awareness, and we often think, I went to sleep. And most of the time you didn't go to sleep, because as long as you're following instructions, you were not asleep. And if you open your eyes at the count of 5, you were not asleep. You just went very deep within. So your goal is to not get too comfortable and yet go deeply within, so you can really enjoy that passive theta type meditation whenever you desire to do so. But alpha is a very, very easy frequency to get to, one that is achieved readily, and you're able to duplicate over and over again. Some of the studies did show, though, that when you tilt your eyes slightly upward, when they're closed, and you tilt them slightly upward, that you are able to trigger more alpha frequency. One of the reasons why, in the technique for the glass of water technique, we hold a glass of water, close your eyes, tilt them slightly upward, and say, this is all I need to do to find the solution to the problem I have in mind, as you drink approximately half of the water and set it aside. Because that closing of the eyes and tilting them upward is going to be a sure thing to produce alpha. So tilting them slightly upward doesn't mean like, where it's strained. No, it just means upward. It's slightly upward, about maybe, a 45-degree angle, and which is very comfortable position for the eyes, and is also the area of your mental screen. So when you're picturing things in your mental screen that's above the horizontal plane of sight, and your eyes are slightly tilted slightly upward, and you're focusing on images as your eyes are closed, which eliminates the external stimulus, or defocus, that's the same thing, then you're able to stay relaxed, body relaxed. You have the purpose in mind, eyes are tilted upward, you're at alpha. Absolutely, you're at alpha, okay? So I hope that helps. You have a question in the YouTube chat that may be similar, posted by PMD Hananhaya. After a few minutes, I start to float. Is that the alpha state? Again, after a few minutes, I start to float. Now, you're talking about subjectively, you feel the sensation of floating. I'm assuming that your body's not physically floating. That would be very cool if it was, I want to know, but that you have a sensation of floating. Everybody experiences their inner state differently. You can experience your inner state as a very light floating sensation. You can experience your inner state as a very heavy, deep, denser sensation. Either one is good. It just depends on what works for you and how you experience it. These subjective experiences are so personal that only you can kind of begin to identify, this is what alpha means to me, or this is what being in dynamic meditation means to me. And this is so only you can identify that. The main thing is that when you do this practice and you set a purpose, then you achieve that purpose, then you're at the right state. You're at the right mental state, at the right inner state, at the right frequency of brain, with the right thinking, with the right energy. Everything is right. That's why you want to recall how you experience your inner state and when it led to success. Because you want to duplicate success, so then you want to duplicate that inner state, and that's where your points of reference come in, and your alpha mechanism or alpha anchor, through finger sitting, also comes in, okay? Trigger mechanisms, anchors, and points of reference, that's where they come in handy, because you're able to lock in. This is what it feels like this is what the inner state feels like and mental state feels like, that leads to positive outcomes. Lock it in, got it. So that even with your eyes open, you can go back and remember, now my vision's defocused, remember what it feels like to be in that right inner state that leads to positive outcomes. Okay, I hope that helps. Now, I was just going to say something. It'll come back to me in a moment. So, okay, anyways, about images, I suppose. Okay, well, anyway, if it comes to you, then, ask me a question about this and we can go ahead and talk about it and work with that. Let me see. When I do move the white frame mirror of the mind to the left, I guess you mean why? Why do I move the white frame mirror of the mind to the left? Okay, here we go. I'll give it to you a quick explanation, and then we're probably going to end up wrapping up soon. The reason is because my father always wanted to have a really good explanation as to why these tools work, okay? So for him, being an electrician by profession, he always said, in physics, because you want to make sure, because we are electromagnetic, chemical in nature, he said, in physics, when you pass a current through a coil, okay, when you pass a current through a coil, there seems to be a magnetic movement at right angles to the left. He says, how would that apply to us human beings? Let's say if I was going to think about what would be the coil in our life or living experience, he would say, because that's the physical thing, perhaps, he would think the coil is our lifeline, our life experience. It starts when we're born, and it finishes when we die. We often talk about time as well as look forward into the future. Don't worry about the past. The past is all behind you, as if the past starts, the past is behind us and the future is in the direction where we walk. So he says, taking that into consideration, our life begins upon conception, our physical life, and it ends upon death. That's ahead of us. Our conception is behind and our death is ahead of us. So that's the coil in our life. The energy that keeps us alive is the energy, or like the electricity that you pass through a coil. So if that's the case, let me go, I hope this makes sense to you. If that's the case, and here's the energy, then I would move my cells at right angles to the left, like the magnetic flux that occurs when you project electricity into a coil. There's a magnetic flux at right angles to the left. So if I was to then step out of my physical timeline, and I hope you're getting this through the video, and I move over to right angles to the left, and then I turn, and I'm going to put my chair. I move to right angles to the left, and then I turn and I at my lifeline, well, there's my past, here's my present, and over there's my future from a subjective perspective, okay? So I'm viewing it from a subjective perspective because I've just extracted myself subjectively from my physical lifeline. I hope that makes sense. So when I pull myself out at right angles to the left in accordance to what physics says, and then I turn from a subjective perspective and view my lifeline, which is a coil, there's past, present, future, and that's why we visualize the problem in front of us and we observe what we want to achieve in the white frame. We transform the blue to white, and the white frame is to the left, okay? Now, don't get confused with what you may have learned in neurolinguistic programming, because neurolinguistic programming says that when your eyes go up and to the left, you're accessing information that you're recalling, things that have already happened. But let's make a note, the distinction again. The brain accesses information by moving the eyes in certain ways, whether it's visual, auditory, kinesthetic, or whether it's going to be a concoction or a recall, okay? So that's from a physical perspective. That's different. That's brain function versus subjective perception of time. The great news is that we are picturing something that we want to achieve in our future in a space where the brain perceives it as already done. And that's what my father used to always say, programming, believing you have already received, or program into the, he didn't say that. In fact, Jesus once said, pray believing you have already received. And my father would say, program into the future in a past tense sense, like it's already happened. All right. I hope that helps you. I hope I didn't confuse you. And I hope it makes sense, all the reasons why we do open eye meditations and why the value for open eye meditations as well. And I think on this note, I'm going to say bye-bye. And I hope you have a wonderful day and a great weekend. Thank you for understanding that we had to move the schedule over just a couple of days. Things come up in life and family situations, and there were some appointments my husband had to go to just as a healthy follow-up to his wonderful health. And it came up rather suddenly. We weren't expecting it, and everything worked out great health report. Everything is super good, and we always like to do these things together and just kind of like support each other along the way. So thank you so much for your understanding and being with me today, and love you guys. And stay tuned because we have some other free seminars coming up in the near future. Let me see, coming up in June. Right before I take off to Paris for the New Mind for Financial Freedom, which, by the way, will be in English. And if those of you who want to go tour or travel with me into Paris, I'd love to see you there. And this particular seminar will be in English, translated with side-by-side translations into French. We may be doing some live streaming as well, so stay tuned for that. And we'll be having another free webinar, which is clarifying your dualistic nature, on the 13th of June. And we'll probably have another eye workshop, the 3-hour eye workshops, on the 21st of June. So stay tuned, all right? And we'll keep you posted. And I just really love hanging out with you guys. I always have such a fun experience. And I just feel like, we just we're here as buddies together, and I really appreciate you. I appreciate the time that you invest in being here, and I appreciate all your wonderful suggestions. Some of you have given me suggestions on how to upgrade the product, like the New Mind for Financial Freedom, and we've taken that into account, and I really appreciate that, because now we have more accountable steps for people to have a better and greater experience. So I really appreciate all your input. Let us be here to serve you as much, I hope, as you have served us. Love you guys. Have a great one, and we'll see you sometime soon in the future, I hope. Bye.